Right. You are welcome to the right place. On the right. Congratulations. Distinguished colleagues, today, the first day of July 2025, marks the birthday of our dear colleague, Distinguished Senator Kaka Shehu Lawan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. We want to wish him a very happy birthday and many more happy returns. Almighty Allah continue to guide you, particularly into the path of prosperity and good health. Congratulations on behalf of your colleagues. Any petitions? No petition. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first business of the day is presentation of a bill, a House bill, standing in the name of National Film and Video Censors Board, Act and Reenactment, Bill 2025, HB 470. Mr. President, you may wish. Mr. President, sorry. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Film and Video Censors Board Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2025, HB 470, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Film and Video Censors Board Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2025, HB 470, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
The second business of the day is presentation of House Bill, standing in the name of Federal Polytechnic Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 1977. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Polytechnics Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 1977, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Polytechnics Act Amendment Bill 2025, HB 1977, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the third business of the day is presentation of bill, standing in the name of Senator Barau Jibril, on the E-F Bill 2025 SB 758. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, E-Health Bill 2025 SB 758, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, E-Health Bill 2025 SB 758, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fourth business of the day is presentation of a bill, standing in the name of Senator Kalu Oji Uzo, on the Electric Vehicle Transition and Green Mobility Bill 2025 SB 856. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Electric Vehicles Transition and Green Mobility Bill 2025 SB 856, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Electric Vehicles Transition and Green Mobility Bill 2025 SB 856, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the fifth business of the day is presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Onyewuchi Ezenwa Francis on the Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 863. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 863, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Road Safety Corps FRSC Amendment Bill 2025 SB 863, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of Senator Mohammed Ali Undume on Nigerian Institute of Social Media Analyst Establishment Bill 2025 SB 871. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Institute of Social Media Analyst Establishment Bill 2025 SB 871, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigeria Institute of Social Media Analyst Establishment Bill 2025 SB 871, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Technology Act Amendment Bill 2025 SB 836. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 28th May 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite Senator Azuko Ekpeyon to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Ekpeyon.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Asuko Ekpeyon, Senator representing Cross River South. I rise today to lead the debate on the second reading of the Federal University of Technology Act Amendment Bill 2025, which seeks to amend the Principal Act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology, Odukpani, in Cross River State. This bill is not just about creating another institution. It is about our shared aspiration to build a Nigeria where no region is left behind in access to knowledge, innovation, and economic opportunities. There are currently no federal universities of technology in the South-South region, and Cross River State I'll take that again. This bill is not just about creating another institution. It is about our shared aspirations to build a Nigeria where no region is left behind in access to knowledge, innovation, and economic opportunities. There are currently no federal universities of technology in the South-South region, and Cross River State has only one other federal university established over 50 years ago. The establishment of this university not only addresses regional imbalance in the distribution of specialized federal tertiary institutions, especially in a region that contributes significantly to the national economy, but also a 50-year gap in federal investment in a university in the state. Odukpani in Cross River South Senatorial District is strategically situated, both geographically and economically, and is at the intersection of key transportation and energy corridors that connect the South-South region to the Southeast and North Central. It is home to the Adiabo Power Station and is very close to the proposed Bakassi Deep Sea Port. Establishing a Federal University of Technology in Odukpani will not only enhance education, but also catalyze regional development, industrialization, and innovation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Nigeria cannot compete in the 21st century global economy if we do not urgently and significantly scale up access to and innovation-based education. There is growing demand for education in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which are critical for national development. With over 60% of Nigeria's population under the age of 30, there exists a pressing need to create more pathways to productive employment. A University of Technology trains employable graduates in high-demand fields, and students trained in technological disciplines are better positioned to become job creators and not just job seekers. The establishment of this university will provide access to tertiary education for thousands of young people in Cross River and surrounding states. It will complement and strengthen the ongoing efforts of the Cross River State government to expand access to quality education and build a knowledge-driven economy for our people. Mr. President, this Federal University of Technology in Odukpali will not only bridge the educational gap in our region, but also serve as a vital incubator for innovation, particularly in emerging sectors like fintech, which is one of the fastest growing industries in Nigeria today. By training the next generation of software developers, data analysts, and digital entrepreneurs, this university will serve as a vehicle for indigenous solutions that can further accelerate our transition into a digital economy. Distinguished colleagues, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, reports that Nigeria needs to increase enrollment in science and technology disciplines by over 50% to meet our industrial development goals by 2030. Currently, less than 30% of Nigerian students are enrolled in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, far below global averages. This anomaly must be addressed. And as we continue to battle rising insecurity and youth restiveness, one of the most powerful tools at our disposal is education. By creating meaningful opportunities in underserved areas, we offer young people a chance at hope, dignity, and constructive nation building. The Federal University of Technology Odukpani will contribute to this national mission. Distinguished colleagues, I call on you today not only to support the passage of this bill. By doing this, we are sending a clear message that every corner of this great nation matters, and that every child, regardless of their place of birth, deserves access to the tools of the future. A new Federal University of Technology is not just an educational institution. It is a strategic national investment in innovation, equity, economic transformation, and future prosperity. I humbly urge you to support the second reading of this bill and allow it to proceed to the appropriate committee for further legislative scrutiny. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
Distinguished Senator Monguno.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Munguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I have listened attentively to the lead debate of the sponsor of this bill and adopt all the submissions and arguments made in favor of the establishment of this university by the sponsor of this bill. And further add that technology is the most veritable tool that can be deployed to leapfrog our economic development. And not only that, it is equally a veritable tool to create employment that is not white collar, but employment at the end of the day, graduates that are technology biased can be able to set up their own businesses without necessarily running helter-skelter, looking for white-collar jobs. So it's also another avenue of creating employment for our teeming unemployed youth, with all its attendant advantage of taking them away from the streets and then drastically reducing the ugly incidence of insecurity that has bedeviled this country. On this note, I support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Victor Ume.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Victor Ume, OFR. I represent Anambra Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to present my tacit support to the second reading of this bill for the establishment of Federal University of Technology in Odubani in Cross River State. I say so because institutions of higher learning in this country, with a population of nearly 250 million people, we have no alternative than to create institutions of higher learning for our teeming youths, who will be the engine room of development of this country. This University of Technology, Federal University of Technology, is the area to go, because technology, like Senator Mongono noted, is ruling the world today. If we don't develop our technological base, we cannot hope to compete with the rest of the world, not to talk of taking care of our needs. Many countries have gone beyond subsistence living. People are now exploring adventures into the moon, into the sun, into everywhere on earth and above us. With technology, we'll be able to develop what we need to create the things that we can use to help ourselves as a nation. So this University of Technology, Federal University of Technology, I have no hesitation in supporting it, because Nigeria really needs more than 10,000 tertiary institutions and universities to be able to compare with others who are making education a serious enterprise. So I commend Senator Asukwo, who I know is beyond the age of going to this university, but is thinking for the youths of the present day. So I heartily support that this bill, for the progress of this nation, because this university will serve youth from all over Nigeria, and even people who will come from outside. So I support that to read it for a second time. I so support, Mr. President.
Senator Ningi.
President, my name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I am representing Bauchi Central of Bauchi State. Mr. President, I rise to support a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Technology, Odupani, for the following reasons. For some of us, Cross River is very, very close to our hearts, and it's been a place for all Nigerians. And more so, the current governor of Cross Rivers, Sweet Prince Basu Otu, is not only a colleague, but a very close, confidant, and friend. And more importantly, Basu Otu has shown that he has the leadership requirements to be supported. Unfortunately, Mr. President, Cross River happens to come to belong to the southern part of the country, and ordinary one would have wished that Cross River is also partake within the oil-producing communities. But Cross River doesn't get any money from being an oil-producing community, and therefore it is very imperative that whatever Cross River requests, that the National Assembly and the nation think about their serious predicament, because they are neighbors to oil-producing states that gets more money of the natural endowment that God has given them. So I think it is important We support Asuko, who has also shown some tremendous courage as a young man and a past-timer, bringing a very important bill of this nature. It should be supported. And I call on all my colleagues who are here today to give this bill a serious recognition and support. Mr. President, I so support.
Distinguished Senator Ekong Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think my position on this bill is very predictable. I have been very consistent in commending the commitment of the 10th Senate to advancing the flanks of education. This is not just a university. This is one major quantum leap, not just for Odukpani, not just for Cross River State, but for Akwa Ibom, and indeed, this great country. On behalf of the Akwa Ibom South, I throw my full weight behind the spirit that underpins this bill. We can never have too many schools like this, too many students like this, which shape the future of our youth. Technology is the way to go. So predictably, this bill is well framed, it's very timely, and it addresses the key concerns of our people that we need to embrace the future. And one way we can embrace the future is by having schools like this, by embracing technology, by embracing the new times. Of course, Akwa Ibom and Cross River are cousins, and naturally, my position is only to be expected. I throw my full weight behind this bill, and I urge our colleagues to be persuaded by the very fine spirit that's on the bill. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Benson Kobowe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Benson Friday Kombowe, representing Bayelsa Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I also represent the governor of Bayelsa State. Your Excellency, this bill is very apt. This bill is one of the bills that interests me so much because it talks about education. And as had been said by many that have spoken before me, this government has shown that they are education friendly, or that we are education friendly, because we have come across bills of this nature not once, not twice, not thrice. And the president has always assented in the establishment of these universities to ensure that our students, our young ones, are properly educated. Mr. President, as you are aware, my colleague have said, education is something that we should take to every corner in the country. To add to that, we have all witnessed a time where our youths are yearning to be educated. And so there are a lot of universities that are trying to fill that gap by way of going to primary schools and secondary schools. If you go to any corner, you will see university of this, university of that, but it's in the primary school. That goes to tell you that the people are yearning for education. They are crying for education. And so there can be not too much of establishing universities in the suburbs. And to that end, I sincerely want to support my friend and brother in establishing or bringing forward this bill for this Senate for passage. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Is there anybody who is opposed to this bill? Huh? Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate, please approach. Distinguished colleagues, those in support that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act, Cap F23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology, Udukmani, Cross River State, and for other related matters, 2025. Second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to amend the Federal Universities of Technology Act, Cap F23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology, Odukpani, in Cross River State, and for other related matters, 2025. This bill is now read the second time and referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TEPFON to revert to the Senate in 6 weeks.
I want to bring my 2 hours of rep members to come and see.
Okay.
So,
Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal University of Education, ANKPA, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2025, SB 716. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read for the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 18th February 2025. Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Jibril Issa to move the motion for the bill to be read a second time.
Distinguished Senator Issa Jibril.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I am Issa Jibrin, representing the very good people of Kogi East. I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Education, ANKPA, Kogi State, to make the comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for other related matters, 2025, SB 716, be read for the second time. I so move. Leader, can I?
Proceed. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. President. I want to thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to lead this debate. Mr. President and my highly esteemed, respected, distinguished colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill, which seeks to upgrade the Kogi State College of Education, ANKPA, to Federal University of Education, ANKPA, Kogi State. The bill was read the first time in this House chamber on Tuesday, 18th February 2025. Mr. President, for any country to achieve meaningful development, the socio-economic and political system must be enhanced. This is why successive Nigerian governments place much emphasis on the development of the individual as a means to national development. Education is the sure means of developing individual potentials. Little wonder, therefore, that the National Policy on Education 1981 postulates that education is the greatest investment that the nation can make for the quick development of its economic, political, sociological, and human resources. Among the various educational institutions through which the nation hopes to achieve its developmental goals, specialized universities of education should take preeminence because they are set up to train the trainers. The development of a sound and robust educational system in any country is therefore predicated on the availability of qualified and well-trained teachers to impart the required knowledge on the students. Thus, the need to have a strong system in our educational sector that shall continuously produce well-qualified and trained teachers as is obtainable in other countries cannot be overemphasized. This is the fundamental justification for the establishment of this specialized institution of higher learning, the Federal University of Education, ANKPA. Undoubtedly, the realization that universities of education are tools for national development have led to an unbridled quest for and vigorous expansion of such institutions in Nigeria. Broadly, a University of Education's main functions, among others, are stated below. 1, to encourage the advancement of learning to all persons without distinction of race, without discrimination in terms of race, creed, sex, or political conviction. To develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, diplomas, first and higher degrees, and postgraduate research in all fields of education, with emphasis on educational planning and teaching in all subjects, covering developmental and adaptive skills, technology, applied sciences, agriculture, commerce, arts, social sciences, humanities, management, and allied professional disciplines. To produce socially matured professional educators with capabilities to not only understand educational needs of Nigeria as a nation, but also to exploit existing educational infrastructure and improve on it and develop new ones. To act as agents and catalysts for installing an effective educational system through postgraduate training, research, and innovation for effective economic utilization and developing the country's human resources. To bring quality change in the educational sector by focusing on teachers' education through teaching and learning innovations. Mr. President, it is pertinent to note that this College of Education is currently affiliated to many universities, and it is offering various degree programs as it is affiliated to many universities in Nigeria. About 6 of them are affiliated. It's affiliated to about 6 universities in Nigeria currently, and it is offering various degree programs. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, the enactment of this bill will go a long way in transforming the decayed educational infrastructure in Nigeria and change the educational fortunes of the country for the better. It will also provide a balanced educational development in Kogi State and the adjoining states. In line with Order 76.3 of the Senate Standing Order 2023 as amended, the bill has no significant financial implication as the structures and manpower needs are already in existence in the Kogi State College of Education, ANKPA. Therefore, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, it is my prayer and ardent call that you consider the plight of the people who are desirous of becoming professional teachers and support the establishment and expeditious passage of this bill. I so submit. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Plan.
The President of the Senate, our leader and Chairman of the National Assembly, distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Dicket Plan, Senator representing Plateau Central, My dear colleagues, I rise very strongly to support this bill seeking to be read for the second time and sponsored by Senator Jibrin Issa of Kogi East. I am supporting this bill particularly for the establishment of a University of Education, not just a fresh creation, but an existing college that's already very deep into offering degree programs and the ability to upgrade it to become a full-fledged university where educational courses can be offered not just at an NCE or degree level only, but to deepen knowledge up to even post-doctorate, master's and PhD. My dear colleagues, I also rise to appreciate the recent move by government in upgrading and establishment of universities of education across the country. I feel this is fit at times like this, because in as much as we are looking for the establishment of universities of technology, looking for the establishment of mining university, marine university, we will not succeed if there is no technical places to develop and then improve the knowledge of teachers. And I believe that if at the end of the day Kogi State or the College of Education in Kogi is upgraded to a university level, it will improve quality of teachers in our country, just as it has been established in most regional areas. I believe that this bill may not need us discussing too much, because this bill is very timely. It is a progressive bill. This bill is a bill that will improve our high institutions. This is a bill also that will also improve our professionals, because no professional, no military person, no medical person will ever be what he is without a teacher. And we will train more teachers. I think we should be able to create more interest for it. I second that this bill should be read for the second time. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, is there anybody who is opposed to this bill going for a second reading? Okay, if there's Distinguished Senator Alero.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I rise to support the second reading of this very important bill for the important reason that the institution is already existing. We are only asking for upgrading of the institution. And it is a specialized university that will train teachers nationwide, not only in Kogi State. We know one of the problems facing the educational sector in Nigeria today is lack of trained teachers. And this is responsible for the low level of education we have now. So if you have universities like this that are specialized in training teachers, it will go a long way in improving the educational standard of the country. Kogi State is one of the most popular states in the north center of Nigeria, and it requires more than 1 or 2 universities. And when fully upgraded, it will certainly take care of teachers desiring to be trained and retrained. And for that reason, Mr. President, I support the second reading of this bill, and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
This is Senator Anthony.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Professor Anthony Ane. I represent Ebonyi South. Mr. President, let me first of all commend in superlative terms the creativity of the sponsor of this bill This bill is not only timely, it is apt. I want to align myself very strongly to the content, to the objectives of this bill. In particular, we need to know that the greatest investment that the nation can offer to its citizens is education. And like my colleague said, this is a specialized university of education, where teachers for both primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions are being trained. Every institution requires good teachers to teach, and this university, if accepted to, it comes to be, we help in addressing the issues of shortage of teachers. You know, some people will do some other courses in the university and come to teach. But if you do your degree in education, you are better positioned to teach. I'm equally impressed by the first objective of this bill that says to encourage the advancement of learning to all persons without prejudice to race, creed, sex, or political descent. University education is meant for everybody, irrespective of your political affiliation, your creed, your belief. University, in literal terms, means universality. And so, if this university is approved, it's going to offer enough benefits to the development of education in every part of this country. Having said this, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I very strongly support that this bill goes for the next reading. I so support.
Thank you.
Let me thank the Senator Issa Jibrin for bringing this to the fore. And now ask that since there is nobody opposed to this, those in support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, I be for an act to establish the Federal University of Education, ANKPA, Kogi State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for other related matters 2025, second reading.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Education, ANKPA, Kogi State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for other related matters 2025. Second reading taken. This bill is now referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TETFON to revert to the Senate in 6 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Legal Matters on the confirmation of the nominations of the following persons as listed on the order paper for appointment as Chairman and Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission.
Mr. President, you may wish to invite most distinguished Senator Adegmomire Adeni Ayodele, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Who is the senator bringing it? Are you ready? Chairman, Judiciary, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, Adeni Adegbomire, Ondo Central, may I respectfully move a motion that the Senate do consider and adopt the report of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters relating to the confirmation of the appointments or nominations of the Chairman and Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. I respectfully so move.
You may proceed to lay the report.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve that this report be laid before us? Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished Chairman of Judiciary, please proceed to lay the report. Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, again, Adeni Adegbomire, Ondo Central, I hereby present the report of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters as it relates to the confirmation of the nominations and or appointment of the Chairman and Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Distinguished colleagues, I would summarize so as to save time. The Senate at its plenary sitting on Thursday, 12 June 2025, considered Mr. President's request for the confirmation of the nomination of Professor Dakas C.J. Dakas, SCN, North Central Region, Professor Fatima Alkali, North East Region, and Dr. Uchenna Ujin Okolocha from the South, for appointment as Chairman and full-time Commissioners of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission and referred same to our committee for further legislative action. It should be noted that these appointments were made pursuant to Section 2, Subsection 1 and Subsection 2 of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act 2022, which empowers Mr. President to appoint 4 commissioners, one of which shall be designated as chairman, subject to the confirmation of such appointment by the Senate. Section 2.2 of the same Act provides that the persons so appointed shall be persons appearing to the National Assembly to be suitably qualified as A, by holding of a high judicial office, B, by experience as a legal practitioner of not less than 15 years standing, or C, by being an eminent scholar in law. After the referral, the committee requested for and received the curriculum vitae of other supporting documents of the nominees
and invited them to appear before it for the screening exercise. On Wednesday, 25th June 2025, 2 of the nominees appeared before the committee. The third one, Professor Fatima Alkali, turned down the appointment. The committee examined the curriculum vitae and other supporting documents and thereafter screened them. I would respectfully jump to the recommendations, which begin at page 6, paragraph 5 of page 6, observations and findings. The committee, after the screening exercise, deliberated on the nominees' suitability for appointment as chairman and full-time commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission, and hereby makes the following observations and findings. 1, that the appointments of the nominees satisfy the requirements of Section 2, subsection 1 and 2 of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission Act 2022 and the Senate Standing Orders of 2023. 2, that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, leadership qualities, and comportment to discharge the statutory duties and functions of the offices of chairman and commissioner of the commission. 3, that there is no petition against the nominations of any of the nominees. 4, that there are no adverse reports against nominees, as record checks and other forms of investigations by security agencies did not reveal any negative issues against them. 5, that the committee is satisfied about their qualifications, experience, suitability, competence, and integrity to assume the position of the chairman and full-time commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. And lastly, that the nominees are fit and proper persons for their appointment. General observation, paragraph 6. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, it should be stated that this committee wrote the Presidential Liaison Officer on National Assembly matters for the Senate and requested him to present the nominees for screening. However, the committee was informed that one of the nominees, Professor Fatima Alkali of the Northeast Political Region, declined the appointment and communicated same to the presidency. Recommendations, paragraph 7 at page 7. The Senate Committee on Judiciary, Legal Matters, Human Rights and Legal Matters has scrutinized the CV and other accompanying documents of the nominees and recommends as follows. 1, that the Senate do approve the confirmation of the nomination of Professor Dakas C.J. Dakas, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okolocha for appointment as chairman and full-time commissioner of the Nigerian Reform Commission, respectively. 2, that the Senate do recommend to Mr. President that the female nominee who declined the nomination be replaced by another female in order to maintain fair gender representation. I so respectfully move. Thank you, Mr. President.
Is any distinguished Senator Lalong?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Simon Lalong, representing the people of Plateau South and also the Vice Chairman of the committee. Mr. President, I rise to support the report for obvious reasons. 1, because all the nominees are very, very stable and have very, very good resume. But above all, I also want to support because the chairman of this committee is from North Central. The chairman of this committee, of the commission, is from North Central. And the chairman of the committee, incidentally, is from Plateau State. The last one, what, Mr. President, Elder Oshomole, Senator Oshomole, my privilege is breached. Point of order, Mr. President.
Chairman
Oshomole
Interior.
has breached my...
Chairman Interior.
I am talking and you are...
Chairman Interior. I thought Senator Oshomole was your friend.
Sir?
I thought he was your friend.
Before. He's not a grandfather. He's a...
Okay. Yeah, noted it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I said that I'm supporting the proposal, purporting the motion, because all the nominees have very, very wonderful resume. And above all, it will be headed by no other person than a son of Plateau State, a son of North Central, with very intimidating resume. I say intimidating because after this, the president can also, we say that we commend the president because most of the nominations that are coming before the Senate are suited for the governance of Nigeria. I will also want to say that the chairman is also a classmate. Why will I not put when Oshomole is disturbing my... What? He's now a godfather. He's now a godfather.
Chairman Interior, Chairman Agric. Chairman Interior, Chairman Agric. Resume your seats. Chairman Interior and Chairman Agric.
You are addressing the chair. You are not addressing Senator Oshomole.
Well, I support the motion, and I said that the chairman is also a classmate of the leader and myself. We are classmates. Four of us, about 4 or 5 of us are classmates. That is why they must give them accelerated confirmation. So I so move. Thank you.
Yes. Is there any other contribution from the floor? None. Okay. So, leader of the Senate, you may move that we go into committee of the whole to consider the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do resolve to a committee of the whole for further consideration of this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that we move to committee of whole to consider the report. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. We go into committee of distinguished colleagues, confirmation of the chairman and member of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Will the Senate approve the confirmation of Professor Dakas, CJ Dakas, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, representing North Central for appointment as chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate further approve the confirmation, no? The nomination of Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okolocha, representing South-South for appointment as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do revert to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the Senate revert back to plenary for the chair to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do revert back to plenary for the chair to report progress. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the screening of Mr. President's nominees for appointment as Chairman and Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission and approved the nomination of Professor Dakas C.J. Dakas, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, as Chairman from North Central. Approved also the commissionership of Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okolocha, a commissioner representing the South-South in the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Professor Dakas C.J. Dakas, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, representing North Central, for appointment as Chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The appointment, the nomination of Professor Dakas, representing North Central, is hereby confirmed as Chairman of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okolocha, representing South-South, for appointment as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Uchenna Eugene Okolocha, representing the South-South region, is hereby confirmed as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. Let me thank the Chairman of the Committee on Human Rights, Judiciary and Legal Matters for a job well done, and congratulate the Chairman and the Commissioner newly confirmed, and wish them a very, very fruitful service to their fatherland in good health and in sound mind. And I also want to thank and congratulate my colleagues in the Senate Committee, and all those who have made contributions towards this screening, approval, and confirmation of these two presidential nominees. May their tenure be fruitful to Nigeria. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate. Please approach. Leader of the Senate, please approach. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do now proceed to have an executive session for some house clearing matters that are of urgent public importance. I so move, Mr. President.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate resolves into a closed door session to discuss vital issues. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, a motion has been moved and seconded that this August Assembly do refer to closed session to discuss some issues of national importance. Those in support of the closed session say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.